Did you miss an undervalued launch, or are the buyers buying for the sake of buying? Hi guys, I'm Kenny. In my former job, I deal with data analysis and I brought this skill into real estate. With the skill sets I acquired, I've helped my clients to sell their property at a higher price compared to their neighbors, as well as to purchase a property at a lower margin. So at the start of the video, I mentioned that did you miss an undervalued property? Or is it that the buyers are buying for the sake of buying? So I believe you heard about how Skye At Holland performed during the launch. They sold 99% on one single day.
Nice.
So I have clients who ask me, are they missing out on an undervalued launch? Or is it that the buyers are buying because of FOMO, fear of missing out? Or is there some other reasons that we are not aware of? So today, let me share with you more about how Skye At Holland is performing, why is it selling so well, and what should we look out for in the other new launches. So like I shared earlier, Skye At Holland sold 99% during the launch day. So on the launch day, 11th of October, this is where Skye At Holland made history in 2025. Okay, units were sold in average about 2,900 PSF. So 2,900 is actually one of the average PSF in the certain areas like RCR. So you have like further away places, not in the central areas, priced at this kind of price point. So given that, it shows that Skye At Holland is probably undervalued, or rather the developers are actually creating opportunities for the buyers, so they have a chance to move into the central area.
Oh my god! Wow!
So the lowest price is $1.51 million for a 2-bedroom in District 10. So this price is actually the same as what happened probably about 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And even until now, you want to find a 2-bedroom in a resale market in the central areas, you probably can't find. Okay, in the resale market, if you're looking at about 1.5 million, 1.6 million for a 2-bedroom, you're looking at places like Queenstown. Okay, places like Tiong Bahru, they are over 1.5 million. They're easily 1.7 million for a 2-bedroom. Even in town area like the River Valley areas, you want to have a 2-bed, 1-bath is like minimally $1.8 million. And in certain projects, because the size is bigger, you need to see at least about 2 million or even higher for 2-bed, 2-bath. So 1.51 million means that this is really a very good entry price, and that is why the buyers are very keen to have a chance to ballot. So they have a chance to be one of the first few, or even the first few hundreds, to buy the lowest price possible. So to find out how Skye At Holland performed, I break it down into 3 different categories. So first one is psychological. So given how the market is moving and how the developers are buying the government land sales land, so this gives the consumer added confidence that in the future what are the prices going to be. So next is the pricing. Like I mentioned, the price point for 1.51 million in the resale market, you're probably getting in like Queenstown area. So to find one in the prime district, especially in Holland where the land is pretty scarce and you don't really see a lot of high-rise except for the new one, which is One Holland Village residences. Okay, at this price point, at this kind of PSF, it is super difficult to find even in the resale market, or rather in the whole of the new launch market around Singapore. It's also quite difficult to find something similar in the area like district areas, in terms of the price point, in terms of the size. So the last one I talk about perfect timing. When I say low interest here, it doesn't mean low interest from consumers. What I'm saying is the low bank interest. So having a low bank interest means that there are more people who are willing to buy a property because the interest rate is very low for them. Okay? It makes more sense to put our money, our CPF, into the property because of the low bank interest rates. Okay, so this is a very good period because the interest rates now, they're about 1.5% or even lower for some cases. So number one, what I'm trying to show you here is the land price. Okay, the government land sales. So previously this plot of land was bought at 1,285 PSF, and if you look at the break-even, it is about 2,200 PSF. Take note that this land is near to the Holland MRT, and with the newly added One Holland Village in the area where they have a lot of eateries, they rejuvenated this area, like they have pet-friendly stalls and everything, right? This makes this area very attractable for people like expats, those who are looking at investments. They have expats coming here for rent. Okay, they have people who want to buy this location because of the lifestyle because they have fur kids. You know, they want the lifestyle. They want to bring their kids to have lunch with them, to have dinner with them in a shopping mall. Okay, so this is the kind of people we are trying to target, or rather what the developers are trying to target for this area. Next, we want to talk about the other government land sale that was recently sold. So this plot of land, Skye At Holland, was sold last year, 2024, in May. Okay, 1 year later, there was one sold in the Holland Plains. Okay, do take note that this location is very far from amenities. It's very far from MRT. It's far from everything. Okay, I've drove there before. I'm very sure it's very far from everything. Okay, take note that the sold pricing for the land is about 1,432 PSF. So if we put that into context, the average break-even we are looking at is about 24 or 25 PSF. So given the break-even of the developer at a higher price, higher PSF, how much do you think they'll be selling in the future? Would it be on average 2009, or would it be 3000, 3001, or even 3002? We are not sure. But there's one thing we are very certain. Okay, first thing, the location of Skye At Holland is much better. Agree? Because of the location to the MRT and amenities. Okay, Holland Plains is borderline District 10. Okay, anything after this Wilby Road is District 21. So these are borderline. So you're not near MRT, you're not near amenities, and you're borderline District 10. If you want to command at such a PSF, you have to justify in some ways. Okay, one thing is whether you can build very tall buildings. That's number one. Secondly is, are you going to sell at the same kind of pricing? And if you are, it doesn't really make sense actually, because first thing is, even if you sell at the same PSF, okay, your location is not as good as Skye At Holland. Okay, when the resale buyers are coming into the market, how are they going to see these two products? Because they'll be like the newest amongst the whole other resales, right? So when they are looking at this, they will also think that, hey, why am I paying this kind of money for this property when it's not near anything? We have to agree that there's a group of people who prefers peace and quiet. Okay, so they want to purchase at somewhere where there's lesser traffic, okay, lesser footfall. Okay, they don't want people to be like going here and there around the area. They don't want. They just need to be near, you know, nature. You know, they just need to be at somewhere that is closer to landed enclaves where there's not a lot of people. Okay, so these kind of people, maybe Holland Plains to them. Okay, but for people who are looking like investors, you want to have a good stream of tenants. You don't want your tenants, after the lease ends, you cannot find another tenant so quickly, or rather at a good rental price. You don't want that to happen, right? So Skye At Holland, given the location, it is a very good place to go for. And of course, based on the website source that I took from the Edge Singapore and Straits Times, so they were saying that the almost 100% of the buyers were Singaporeans and PRs. So meaning to say that these people are usually upgraders, people who want to move from the outskirts or like the RCR areas into town area. They want to find somewhere that is more convenient for them to go to work, more convenient for them to go to town, or places like in terms of schools for their kids, the better schools. So this is why they are moving into Holland area, or rather the town area. So of course, the secret number 2 is the pricing. So like I shared with you, the purchase price for the land is 1,285 PSF. Okay, they sold average of 2,009. Whereas a lot of projects in the town area, they are selling about 3,000 plus, you know, easily 3,000. There are some even going near to 4,000. Okay, even the highest, most crazy one in town, right, which is the Skywaters Residences, they're selling about 6,000. Of course, these are all different products, but in terms of the CCR, the pricing, right, I mean, we can go as high as 6,000, okay? But in terms of the average, so in places where people tend to upgrade to, for example, River Valley, okay, compared to the pricing there, okay, the prices easily is 3,000 odd, and Holland now they are selling about 2,009 on average. Okay, if I were to bring you later to a comparison with One Holland Village residences, it will be clearer for you that why Skye At Holland is a better buy. And based on how the developers price it fairly, okay, this cost advantage is passed directly to the buyers, meaning to say that they have a higher margin, or rather higher potential that they can sell it for a better profit in the future, which I believe is what contributes to most of the sales at Skye At Holland. And of course, the developers did their homework and they knew who to sell it to in terms of the market. Okay, so in the past, when we talk about prime district area projects, they are doing like 1 bedroom because of investors, 2 bedroom because of investors, and then anything after that, for example 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom, 5 bedroom, they do like very big sizes. I mean, in terms of the design, in terms of the square feet, it's easily like 1,800, 2,000 kind of square feet. And that's because they target the foreign nationals who had strong belief in Singapore market. So after the ABSD changed to 60% for foreigners, okay, a lot of them couldn't buy into Singapore's market. So what the developer did was they changed the strategy. Okay, instead of targeting the buyers' mentality as for foreigner investors, they changed it to the local mentality. A lot of people who are buying for own stay, probably they're looking at 2 bedroom and above. Okay, minimally 2 bed 2 bath would be a better choice. Okay, 3 bedroom, if you can give them like a smaller size, they will love it because they want the bedrooms, they want the location, and the size, if it's slightly smaller, they still can accept it. Okay, when it goes to 4 bedroom, 5 bedroom, okay, if you go up to like 2,000 square feet, probably they couldn't afford it. But if you go to something smaller, okay, 1,400, 1,500, it is still something that the locals or the HDB upgraders, or rather the outskirts or RCR condo upgraders, they want to move into this location. Okay, this is more of a easier choice for them, or rather this is more like a suitable choice for them to upgrade to. And of course, I did an analysis on the different bedroom types and the different stacks, as well as what is the price difference from the highest floor to the lowest floor, and what is the potential, like the price per floor jump for the whole stack. So for 2 bed 1 bath at 581 square feet, we're looking at a difference about 300,000 from the lowest to the highest. Okay, there's a price difference about 20%, and there's about 0.56%, on average about 0.5% per floor jump. This is actually quite reasonable. Okay, when we look at other developments that has been launched recently, 0.5% is a rather reasonable number that we are working with. So next we have 2 bed 2 bath options, where the top floor on average is about $2.1 million and the lowest floor is about $1.8 million. Okay, so there's around like a difference about 300,000 for the lowest and the highest floor. And on average, the per floor jump is also about 0.5%, which is, like what I mentioned, is actually quite reasonable for high floor development to have such a floor jump. So next is our 2+ study. Okay, so the average price is about $2.4 million for the highest floor, and of course for the lowest floor is about $2 million. So the difference between the highest and the lowest is about 400,000, slightly higher than the 2 bed 1 bath and the 2 bed 2 bath. Okay, and the price per floor jump is slightly higher than 0.5%. Okay, so because 2+ study, people like to buy for own stay, correct? So when it comes to own stay purchase, right, the buyers will tend to have some emotions when they want to buy into this property, and therefore I believe that this is why there's a slight premium on the per floor jump. So I believe this is where the developers load their profits on these 2+ study stacks. So in general, the 2 bedroom, they take about more than 50% of the whole development. There are about 372 bedrooms in general, but of course they are divided into like 2 bed 1 bath, 2 bed 2 bath, and 2 bed plus study. Next we have the 3 bed 2 bath, which is the 915 square feet unit. The top floor is about 2.8+ million, and the lowest floor is about 2.4 million. So we have a difference about 400,000, and the per floor jump on average is about 0.5%. So if I were to compare the 2+ study and the 3 bedroom, so while we are at the launch queue for Skye At Holland, for example, if I see that there's a similarity between the 2+ study and the 3 bedroom, my personal take is, if the budget allows, go for the 3 bedroom, because the 3 bedroom will actually attract more pool buyers and the demand will be stronger for a 3 bedroom compared to a 2 bed plus study. Next we have the 3 bed 3 bath. Okay, so the stacks are here, 3 bed 3 bath. Okay, the prices on average is about 3.3 to 3.4 million. Okay, for the lowest floor is about $2.8 million. So we have a difference about 500,000 or so. Okay, so the difference per floor jump is about 0.5 on average. And if you were to ask me, the price difference for this is about less than 18%. And this is a lot lesser than most of the other stacks that we have seen previously. So this, in my opinion, will be actually quite a good buy. Next, we have the 4 bedrooms, which is here, here and here. So for the smaller 4 bedrooms on the highest floor, they are about 4 million. Okay, lowest floor is about 3.3 million. So there's a difference about 600,000. For the bigger 4 bedroom, okay, highest is 4.8, lowest is 4 million, about $800,000 difference. And even with 600,000 or $800,000 difference, right, the price per floor jump is still around 0.5, even lesser than what the 2 bedrooms, some of the 2 bedrooms are having. And the price difference is about less than 20%, about 19% odd. Still better performing than some of the smaller units. And of course, for 4 bedrooms, if given the choice, I would tell my clients to choose as high as possible, depending on the facing. And the last one is actually the 5 bedroom, which is over here. Okay, highest 5.877 million, and the lowest is 4.89 million. Price per floor jump in terms of percentage is about 0.55%, and overall price difference is about 20%. So this is understandable because 5 bedroom itself, the price per floor jump should be very high on most of the cases, or rather in a lot of other projects. And of course, for 5 bedroom, the profit difference can jump quite a lot, quite substantial when it comes to the resale market, especially when people are buying for own stay and they are not willing to sell. And if there's one unit coming out in the market and you have a lot of demands coming for you, coming to view and coming to offer, right, more often than not, you'll be selling way over what the market is going for. So the secret number 3, the perfect timing. So for the whole of 2025 in District 10, if you want to talk about a project in Holland Village, this is probably the only project in Holland Village that's launching this year. And given the amount of units, the land cost, everything that is providing, the pricing, this is really one of a kind by its own. And of course, we have to thank the resale buyer in One Holland Village residences because the pricing hit 3,700 PSF. Okay, with this kind of pricing at 3,700 PSF, and for Skye At Holland, the highest is only 3,300 PSF. And by now, you should be familiar with the harmonization and non-harmonized projects and how they are performing, why the PSF is higher than the resale and whatnot, right? And in this case, the new launch PSF is lower than the resale PSF. Does it make sense to you? Doesn't, right? So if it doesn't make sense to you, and of course in the whole of the market, it doesn't make sense to a lot of people who understand how this works, right? Skye At Holland is the best buy when we compare to the neighboring projects. And of course, if you're looking at Holland area, when you're looking at future resale buyers, they'll definitely be comparing with our direct neighbors, for example, One Holland Village residences, or some of the freehold condos that are nearby us. Rarely, they will actually go further away. For example, they compare Holland area to, for example, Normanton Park. They compare Holland area to like Skye, Park Star, these kind of places. They probably will remain, okay, or rather they will expand out in the CCR areas, probably to River Valley or some of the other town areas. And given that the PSF is very low, the quantum based on the pricing is also very low compared to its direct neighbor, and therefore Skye At Holland is a really good buy. So what will happen in the CCR in the future? Okay, something similar happened during COVID actually. So if we look back into COVID in 2020 and 2021, when the foreign investors, they cannot come into Singapore, okay, what happened to the town projects? Okay, most of the time the launch will happen, okay, there will be some interest, and then after that it will die down for a while. Okay, what happened was, what I witnessed is in a project called Avenue. During the launch, okay, because it was in COVID, there wasn't a lot of interest. Okay, subsequently, a lot of local buyers, they saw the opportunity and then they go for it because everyone is trapped in Singapore, right? So during COVID, they go to this project called Avenue. Okay, they bought up the very big units. Okay, units that are priced at about 6 million, 7 million easily, and they buy from top down. Okay, highest floor down because they have the money. Okay, they buy the best units in the market. Okay, so they buy from top down, And when the foreigners, when they can come into Singapore, they don't have a lot of choices left. They are left with like mid-floor choices. They are left with like low-floor choices. And that's where we know that Singapore, a lot of buyers, or rather a lot of people in Singapore, they have the purchasing power. And it's just where they're going to buy and when are they going to buy. And of course, with the ABSD hitting the foreigners with 60% of tax, it doesn't make sense for them to buy anymore, okay? Unless they become like PRs, or they have like certain citizenship that allows them to purchase in Singapore without all these hefty taxes. And of course, based on how the market is moving, certain times we don't look at PSF anymore. Certain times the price in terms of quantum is actually way better than a PSF itself, because if the quantum in general is actually the same or lesser for a new launch compared to a resale, then it would make sense that if I'm buying a new one at the same price, the rental will be higher, correct? Because after 3 years, 4 years, your property that you collect the keys for, right, will be the newest project in the area. And therefore the rental demand will be actually higher, because you can actually also command a higher rental price for your newly TOP property, right? So in terms of the pricing that you entered, let's say same price or slightly lower price, okay, and you're getting like a higher rent compared to your direct neighbor, okay, can I say that your rental yield is definitely higher than your neighbors who are actually a resale condo? Correct? So if that's the case, then all the more the investors are willing to put their money into all these new launches. So like I mentioned, right, the future developer strategy could be moving towards the upgraders, those local buyers, those who want to move from RCR into town areas. They want to have a good sizing property. They want to have a good size 3-bedroom, not like those very big kind of 3-bedroom. For example, like instead of building us 1,000 square feet 3-bedroom, you are building like 1,500 square feet 3-bedroom. So that targets a different group of buyers as compared to building 1,000 odd square feet kind of a 3-bedroom. So of course, the action plan ahead, I would say that to watch the land cost, okay, how the developers are pricing. So in terms of the location, the current price that they will launch at, is it a better location? For example, when we're talking about Skye At Holland compared to Holland Plains, is it a better location and is it at a lower cost price? If it is, then all the more it's more worth it to enter. So quantum matters, because when we talk about PSF, but that was in the past before harmonization. Right now, we are talking about price quantum, because the price quantum is what makes sense in terms of rental yield, because we're looking at the rental amount over the total property value, correct? So we don't look at PSF when it comes to rental yield calculation, correct? So quantum is the king. So in the future, or rather moving ahead for the next few years, it's going to be price quantum over PSF. Timing is everything, because like I said, if the resale buyer for One Holland Village didn't buy at 3,000 odd square feet, okay, we would probably not see Skye At Holland perform so well, okay. Of course, there are certain other factors that will contribute to Skye At Holland's success even without that transaction, okay. But with that transaction, it actually convinced a lot of buyers that it's really a good buy, right? So going for local demand, so when we look into the project itself, we also must understand who is our future buyers. Are they going to be local buyers who are looking to upgrade into this area? If they are, higher chance that you will have a lot of demands for your current unit that you're choosing, or rather the current project that you're choosing. So of course, be ready to move, okay, when the interest is low, when the mortgage rate interest is low, it is time to move already. You don't start to wait for it to be at the lowest point and then you decide to move in, because if it's at the lowest point, there will be a lot of people who have already moved before you. This is what happened 2 years ago when the interest rates are very low. Before we hit the bottom, the property price already reacted to it, and the demands in the market are actually higher than what the supply can provide. So by the time you hit the lowest point in the interest rate, I would probably say that that's already too late for us to enter this market already. So if there's any questions you have regarding property in general, what project you should go for, if you like this kind of analysis, do hit the like and subscribe button. I'll be very motivated to create more of these videos for you. And as always, I'm Kenny and I hope to see you soon.